So Trump just had a bombshell announcement that disgraced Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is getting thrown out of this country after it is proven that she married her brother.
This is very much an emperor's got his groove back moment for President Trump after the horrific murder and terroristic arrest of two different Afghan nationals this weekend. One who murdered a National Guard member and sent another into critical condition with a targeted attack just feet from the White House, and another Afghan national who planned on detonating a car bomb to mass murder as many Texans and Americans as he possibly could. Well, President Trump has certainly changed his tune on immigration. It seems like he was playing things a little close to the chest. He was trying to, I guess, please a lot of different parties, and now the gloves are freaking completely off. Now, this is the President Trump Thanksgiving post that, of course, went thermonuclear viral. I've read it all before on the channel. It was seen by 75 million people, 96,000 reposts, 552,000 likes. So this is an all-time banger by President Trump. But the summary of this post is effectively this, that Donald Trump really doesn't want any more immigration into our country. He singles out Governor Tim Walz, who he calls seriously retarded, and Ilhan Omar, who he says is wearing her swaddling hijab everywhere she goes and attacking America. His message is that he's going to stop allowing all immigration, legal, criminal, H-1B, whatever, or otherwise from the third world. And he's going to consider potentially remigration, which is a huge deal of populations that clearly don't love America and are incompatible with our culture. Now, President Trump didn't get a chance to get on camera and defend any of this until just minutes ago. And we have a great summary of President Trump's gaggle aboard Air Force One, where President Trump finally took questions about this post, and he covered everything, including deporting Ilhan Omar and remigration, sending people who don't belong here back home to their homes.
Throughout the last few days, after we know that Afghan national is the suspected shooter of these National Guardsmen.
People that shouldn't be in our country this way.
So you announced that asylum.
And that includes Somalians and it includes plenty of others.
How long does your administration plan to pause asylum into the U.S.?
I think a long time.
Can you give any kind of time?
We don't want those people. We have enough problems. We don't want those people.
Is that a year, 2 years?
No time limit.
And then
but it could be a long time.
You said that
we don't want those people. Do you understand that?
I understand.
You understand it?
I understand.
Who are you with?
I'm with News Nation. So
okay.
My name's Lindsay.
News Nation. Great. Let me just tell you something. We don't want those people. Does that make sense? You know why we don't want them? Because many of them are no good, and they shouldn't be in our country.
What do you mean by those people? Can you
The people from different countries that are not friendly to us, and countries that are out of control themselves. Countries like Somalia that have virtually no government, no military, no police. All they do is go around killing each other. Then they come into our country and tell us how to run our country. We don't want that.
I really don't understand how this is a controversial statement and how the mainstream media is taking what he said here and spinning it as if Donald Trump is just a hateful person. We want people in America who want the best for America. Why is it that America is the only country in the world that has to allow all of this stuff to happen? You have to allow all these foreigners to run for public office and change the narrative behind the United States of America. Did you notice that when the Democrats were in power, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and what Hillary Clinton wanted to do, they wanted you to be ashamed to be an American. They wanted you to not be proud of your history, because if you're not proud of something, you will never fight to defend it. All of these people, Ilhan Omar, AOC, they claim that America is such a hateful and divisive place, yet somehow they got elected into power. So maybe America is not as divisive as you make it seem, because this is the land of opportunity. Anyone can achieve anything if they have a dream and they work hard. And I truly do believe that. We elected a black president not once, but twice. I don't want to hear a thing about racism. They want it to seem like America is such a hostile place, but I think everybody can agree. Under Donald Trump, the American dream is alive and well, and that is largely in part to stopping the mass influx of illegal immigration, stealing jobs, making houses more expensive, and being an overall drain on our taxpayer dollars.
With that, find me anybody who can make the case that people from failed states or failed nations, and there are many of them, but places that are terrorist hotbeds that are clearly incompatible with West, that though people from those places are going to be a net addition. I mean, listen, the reality is that all available evidence proves that this is a massive hotbed and population for fraud against the American people, fraud against the people of Minnesota. There are a ton of criminal cases that are either charged or have been tried against the Somali populations for enormous amounts of fraud, immigration, welfare, COVID-19, all of it. I mean, it's endless, quite frankly. The number of cases that are now being prosecuted, uncovered, and even attacked by the New York Times of all places. So President Trump is completely bang on this point and saying that these are populations that do not help our country and that are incompatible with Western culture. He continues.
Post, you mentioned Tim Walz, and you called him what many Americans do find an offensive word, retarded. Do you stand by that claim of calling Tim Walz retarded?
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with him. Absolutely, sure.
Because you don't think
You have a problem with it? You know what? I think there's something wrong with him. Anybody that would do what he did, anybody that would allow those people into a state and pay billions of dollars out to Somalia. We give billions of dollars to Somalia. It's not even a country because it doesn't function like a country. It's got a name, but it doesn't function like a country. Yeah, there's something wrong with Walz.
Donald Trump not backing down, calling Tim Walz seriously retarded, and then getting back on base right here.
President, you said that you might denaturalize some American citizens. Can you talk about
You mean people that are in here that shouldn't be here?
that became Americans? Are you trying
Well, we'll
to
see.
revoke
I
their
mean, yeah, if we
citizenship?
have criminals that came into our country and they were naturalized maybe through a Biden or somebody that didn't know what they were doing, if I have the power to do it, I'm not sure that I do, but if I do, I would denaturalize, absolutely.
Denaturalize. I'm no immigration lawyer. I guess I'd need to, you'd need to, I need to research, how do you denaturalize somebody? How many people that are here in this country hate this nation? It's time to get very serious about who we allow into the country. We're going to have to make an argument for every single immigration case as to whether is this person someone who's going to assist an making our country great, is going to assimilate, speaks our language.
That's the argument right there. Why would we allow people into this country who don't care about America, actively talk bad about this country, and offer nothing of benefit to us? They're only a drain on the economy. Try going into China. Try going into Japan. Try becoming a citizen of one of those nations while claiming that you hate that country and you offer little to no benefit. See, what the Biden administration was doing was allowing all these people into our country because they care, because they want to be there for everyone in the world. America is your home. They were basically telling illegal immigrants to come into this nation just so that they have better odds of winning come November in the voting booths. It's an absolute treasonous thing that happened, and I cannot stress how important that 2024 election was, because if we lost that election, I do not believe that we would have had a fair election ever again. They would have abolished the filibuster, they would have packed the Supreme Court, and this country would have been absolutely unrecognizable. Make it DC a state, then make Puerto Rico a state. Who knows what they would have done?
Going to enrich our nation, right? Or are they going to just simply create their own nation here? Are they going to just make mini Somalia here in Minneapolis? That's exactly what's happening.
Those people, can you
The people
clarify?
from different countries that are not friendly to us and countries that are out of control themselves. Countries like Somalia that have virtually no government, no military, no police. All they do is go around killing each other. Then they come into our country and tell us how to run our country. We don't want them.
What are you talking about? You talking
Countries wrestling?
You got to talk up.
She said how many countries?
Is there a list of
Well, I guess we gave you 19, right? And it's probably more than that.
Is that what you mean when you mean third world countries, those 19?
No, I don't think they're all third world, but in many cases they are third world. They're not good countries. They're very crime-ridden countries. They're countries that don't do a good job. They're countries that don't register from the standpoint of success. And we, frankly, don't need their people coming into our country telling us what to do.
When you talk about
I'm
denaturalization,
talking about like some tell you, when you have a congressman goes around telling everybody about our Constitution, and yet she supposedly came into our country by marrying her brother. Well, if that's true, she shouldn't be a congressman, and we should throw her the hell out of our country. Get people out that are in our country, get them out of here. I want to get them out. We got a lot of people in our country that shouldn't be here, and they came in through Biden, and he was the worst president in the history of our country. But the single biggest thing he did was allow millions of people into our country that shouldn't be here. Drug dealers, prisons were opened up and allowed to come into our country. You take a look at the people that were allowed to come into our country. We're paying a big price for it, and we will for years to come, including the recent killer of two wonderful National Guards people. And I'll tell you what, that animal should not have been allowed to come into our country.
President Trump back on track. The internet just loving this. President Trump not backing down an inch.
You see, this is what we have been missing in Washington, D.C. for so long. Somebody who's not ashamed to stand up for America. Yes, they might have controversial takes. They might say some things that might rub people the wrong way. But you know where they stand. I know that Donald Trump, everything that he does, has an underlying benefit towards America. It is a net positive for this country. All these other politicians, they might say the nicest things. They might have the most polished speeches possible. However, they're throwing you under the bus behind closed doors. Look at what happened with Chuck Schumer in the shutdown. He wanted to meet with all the Republicans behind closed doors just to negotiate a deal to get the government back open. You know what that was? That was corruption. That was working against America and the American people. What goes on in private eventually comes public, and we know that these people never look out for America in private. All that is taking advantage of us. And when it comes to Ilhan Omar, yeah, I am all for that. If she entered this country illegally and she did something that was against the law, why did she enter this country, number one? And number two, how the heck is she a representative? Somebody who is representing this country when she's an active criminal. I think Trump is well within his rights to see this to the very end. And if she broke the law, then she has to pay the price. I mean, they went after Donald Trump for some BS charges. They put him through hell and he did nothing wrong. But in regards to Omar, she can break the law, represent this country, and get away scot-free. That's not happening. Not under Donald Trump anymore. He's not playing around. And what he said to Tim Walz, I 100% agree. We need to stop being so sensitive and telling people they can't say this or that because it might offend somebody's feelings. I'm sorry, but if you get offended by what somebody has to say, move on with your day. This is not a life or death issue. If somebody calls me names, I'll say, all right, cool, have a nice day. And I'll go on with my life. I'm not going to sit there and stew about it because that has absolutely no benefit towards my life. These people want to be the thought police and tell you what you can or can't say. That's why the whole Twitter accusation by Elon Musk was massive, because it was the cultural shift that we needed to open the doors for President Donald Trump to win his second term. I really do think that was the turning point. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. What do you think needs to happen to Omar? And are you in favor of Donald Trump saying whatever the heck comes to his mind? Or do you think he has to have more of a filter? Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe. And wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.